ברוכים הבאים, welcome, ואני שמח שאתם פה, I'm happy that you're here, איתנו, with us, יאללה. This webinar has two parts. In the first part, you'll participate in a staged conversation between two Hebrew speakers, where your job is to respond to my cues out loud. All right? I want the whole house to hear you. You don't have to scream it out loud, but make sure you're speaking, because that's what's going to help drive the words into your memory. In the first part, there will be no visuals. Trust your sense of hearing. It's different from the typical academic way of learning. So you have an impulse to write something down, to look something up. Try to let it go. Try to learn in a different way. And in the second part, we will have a look at the text of the conversation, so you will have a visual component as well. Ready? התחלנו. Let's get started. A woman named Miri is washing dishes, but the water won't go down. She calls out in frustration, ugh. Listen and repeat. Oof. Oof. Make sure you're speaking out loud. She calls out, ugh, the sink is clogged. Just listen. Oof, yesh stima bakio. What she's saying literally is, there is blockage in the sink. Let's learn how to say this on Miri's behalf, part by part. First, the word for there is. Listen and repeat. Yesh. Yesh. She calls out, ugh, there is. Continue speaking for her. Oof, yesh. A blockage. Listen and repeat. Make sure you're speaking out loud. Stima. Ma. Sti. Stima. Stima. Hebrew has no word for a. So Miri says simply, there is blockage. Yesh stima. Yesh stima. In the sink. Listen and repeat. Bakior. Kior. Yor. Kior. Ba. Bakior. Bakior means literally in the sink. Which part do you think means in the? Ba. Now say in the sink. Bakior. Miri says, ach, there is. Keep speaking for her. Oof, yesh. Blockage. Stima. In the sink. Bakior. Kior. Bakior. She calls out, there's blockage in the sink. Yesh stima bakior. Do you know the Hebrew word for I or I am? Ani. Ani. Asaf, Miri's husband, says, I'm calling, listen and repeat. Ani mitkasher. Mitkasher. Kasher. Kasher. Mitkasher. Asaf says, I'm calling. Ani mitkasher. Make sure you're speaking out loud. In Hebrew, when we make a phone call, we say that we're calling to someone. Listen and repeat. Ani mitkasher le. Asaf says, I'm calling Benny, or literally, I'm calling to Benny. Try saying it for him. אני מתקשר לבני, לבני. I'm calling Benny the handyman. Just listen. אני מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. Here's the word for handyman. Listen and repeat. שיפוצניק. ניק. פוצניק. פוצניק. שיפוצניק. How do you say handyman in Hebrew? Shiputznik. This is a slightly slangy term using the nik ending, which comes from Russian. Here's the handyman. Listen and repeat. Hashiputznik. Hashiputznik. How do you say Benny the handyman? Benny Hashiputznik. Asaf says, I'm calling. אני מתקשר. אני מתקשר ל. I'm calling Benny the handyman. אני מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. How does Miri call out in exasperation, Ugh, there's blockage? Oof, יש סתימה. There's blockage in the sink. יש סתימה בכיור. Asaf says, I'm calling Benny the handyman. אני מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. Miri is not sure this is a good idea. She says, but, listen and repeat. אבל, but we, listen and repeat. אבל אנחנו, נו, אנחנו, אנחנו. Miri begins, but we, אבל אנחנו, אבל. We need, listen and repeat. אנחנו צריכים, חים, ריחים, צריכים. אנחנו צריכים. Miri says, we need אנחנו צריכים but we need אבל אנחנו צריכים אבל a plumber, listen and repeat. אינסטלטור, לטור, אינסטלטור. There is a proper Hebrew word for as well for plumber, but most Israelis use instalator, a word borrowed from European languages. Say it again. Instalator. You can think of it as an installator. Miri says, but we need אבל אנחנו צריכים a plumber. Instalator. Asaf had said, I'm calling Benny the handyman. אני מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. Do you know the Hebrew word for no? Lo. Lo. Miri said, but we need a plumber. אבל אנחנו צריכים אינסטלטור. אבל אנחנו צריכים אינסטלטור. Not, it's the same word as no. Lo, not a handyman. Try to say it. Lo שיפוצניק. שיפוצניק. There's a blockage in the sink. יש סתימה בכיור. She continues, we have, listen and repeat, יש לנו, 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 יש לנו. She says, we have, or literally, there is to us. יש לנו a problem. Listen and repeat. בעיה. היה. בעיה. What's the Hebrew word for problem, or simply, well, a problem, or simply problem? בעיה. Miri says, we have a problem. יש לנו בעיה in the sink. בכיור. כיור. בכיור. Asaf replies, Benny the handyman Benny השיפוצניק knows, listen and repeat, יודע, דע, יודע. Benny knows, Benny יודע, Benny the handyman knows, Benny השיפוצניק יודע, to fix, listen and repeat, לתקן, כן, תקן, לתקן. What's the Hebrew word for to fix? לתקן. Asaf says, Benny knows how to fix. The word for how is implied. Try saying it. Benny יודע לתקן. Everything. Listen and repeat. הכל. כל. הכל. Everything. הכל. Benny the handyman Benny השיפוצניק knows how to fix everything. יודע לתקן הכל. He, listen and repeat. Who, he knows, try saying it. הוא יודע how to fix everything, or to fix everything. לתקן הכל. Besides, listen and repeat. חוץ מזה, מזה, זה, מזה, חוץ, חוץ, חוץ מזה, Asaf adds, besides, חוץ מזה, he, who, he is cheaper. Just listen. הוא יותר זול. The phrase יותר זול means literally more cheap. First, the word for cheap. Listen and repeat. זול. זול. And here's cheaper. Listen and repeat. יותר זול. יותר. יותר. How do you say cheaper, or literally more cheap in Hebrew? יותר זול. Asaf says, besides, חוץ מזה, he's cheaper. Since Hebrew has no word for is, Asaf says literally, he cheaper. Listen and repeat. הוא יותר זול. הוא. הוא יותר זול. Okay, let's review their conversation from the beginning. Miri says, ugh, there's blockage in the sink. How does she say it? Oof, יש סתימה בכיור. בכיור. יש סתימה. Which part of that means there is? yesh. Asaf says, I'm calling. אני מתקשר. I'm calling Benny the handyman. אני מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. Miri says, but, אבל, we, אנחנו, but we need, אבל אנחנו צריכים, but we need a plumber. אבל אנחנו צריכים אינסטלטור. Installator. Installator, like Terminator. Not a handyman. לא שיפוצניק. We have. יש לנו. לנו. We have a problem. Remember the word for problem? יש לנו בעיה. בעיה. In the sink. בכיור. Asaf says, I'm calling Benny the handyman. אני מתקשר לבני השיפוצניק. But Miri says, but we have. אבל יש לנו. A problem in the sink. בעיה בכיור. We don't need. אנחנו לא צריכים. A handyman. שיפוצניק. We need a plumber. אנחנו צריכים אינסטלטור. Asaf says confidently, Benny the handyman Benny השיפוצניק, he knows הוא יודע how to fix, or literally to fix, לתקן, He knows how to fix everything. הוא יודע לתקן הכל. הכל. Besides. חוץ מזה, he's cheaper or more cheap. הוא יותר זול. He knows how to fix everything. הוא יודע לתקן הכל. Besides. חוץ מזה, he's cheaper. הוא יותר זול. Now, in the intermediate level webinar, the story continues when Benny Hashiputznik shows up for the job. But we're going to stop here and go on to the visual presentation. Now I'm going to do a share screen. And this is Hashiputznik. There is, how would you say this? And this is the part where you can take out your notebook and take notes if you'd like to. How would you say there is in Hebrew? Yesh. And if I go a little fast, you're not able to write everything down, there will be review material where you can use, which you can use to write things down. A blockage. Stima. In the sink. Bakior. And this part over here, the ba, this is the part that means in the. And kior means sink. Yeah, so how do you say sink? Kior. I. Ani. This is I or I am, because Hebrew doesn't have a word for am calling to, or I'm calling. מתקשר ל, and the le here means to. מתקשר, this is a male speaking. Remember, this is a saf. So אני מתקשר is I am calling when a male is speaking. If a female is speaking, it's אני מתקשרת. Benny the handyman. Benny השיפוצניק. You can see which part of hashiputznik means the. It's the ha over here. This is the word shiputznik, starting with the shin over here. Shiputznik. But aval, we, אנחנו, We need אנחנו צריכים, here's the word צריכים. And if you were in the previous webinars, you may remember that the im ending is plural, is more than one. So really, צריכים has an im ending because it's a we. If it were just one person, it would be, let's say a male, צריך, אני צריך. A plumber. Instalator. No. לא. We have. יש לנו. And remember that this is literally, there is to us. יש לנו. A problem. בעיה. בעיה. He who he knows הוא יודע יודע to fix לתקן לתקן everything. הכל. And you may recognize the word hakol from the phrase hakol beseder. Everything's cool. Everything's okay. Besides, chutz mize, it's two separate words. It means literally outside from this. Chutz mize. He is cheaper. הוא יותר זול. And which word means cheap? זול. And יותר means more. הוא יותר זול. Okay, so this is, you may be taken aback by all the Hebrew here, but you can take it as a homework assignment and a bonus homework assignment. This appears in the review materials, which you will be receiving, and you can print it out if you'd like. This has a glossary of all kinds of terms you might find useful or handy. What needs fixing? Washing machine, מכונת כביסה, dryer, מייבש, dishwasher, מדיח כלים, it's refrigerator, מקרר, etc. Whom to call? Well, let's see, the handyman over here is שיפוצניק, but if you want somebody, you want a plumber, then it's instalator, or an electrician, חשמלאי, a lawyer, עורך דין, etc. And all kinds of other terms that you might find useful, like to order, להזמין, to set, לקבוע, like falling apart, מתפרק, short circuit, קפץ החשמל, and some phone numbers that are good for Israel for emergencies. So that you'll find in the review materials, which will arrive by email. Now I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Please use the Q&A to ask questions, and I will do my best to answer. Didn't receive any email this week. Okay, you want to talk to Ali? Okay, any questions? Feel free to use the Q&A. Is this, okay, I see some questions. Yesh is have and there is. Okay, so Hebrew doesn't have a word for have. It's a verb that we have in English, we have. Hebrew doesn't have a verb like that. So what we do instead is we say, there is to me, there is to you, there is to us. So yesh lanu means there is, yesh, to us, lanu. Where are the review materials? They will arrive by email after this session, probably tomorrow or the next day, something like that, whenever it gets sent out. When will it be a next class? Next class is a week from now. The next class, I believe, is the phone tree. When you call, how to understand the recording, the directory. The previous vocabulary sheets. The previous vocabulary sheets are available by email. They were sent out. I'm not sure if you've signed up, then you have received them. Is there a shorter way to say anachnu? Yes, there is a way to say anachnu, anu, but people don't usually use it. It's strange that it's a shorter version that people just prefer the long version for, but that's the way it is. Anachnu means we. Anu is a little bit more formal, even though it's shorter. Okay. Why do we see it only after we hear it? It's separating why do we separate the auditory from the visual? Because language is something to be spoken and understood. Reading it is a little bit of a crutch. So we want to throw you into the deep water, hold your hand as we throw you into the deep water, into conversation, going for the top, and then we bring it to the visual so that it becomes easier as well. Kol dvarim, kol for everything. Kol hadvarim is all of the things. Hakol is everything. Okay, so Arthur asked, why not to fix et hakol, litaken et hakol? That's the word et, as we came across in prior webinars, is a word that exists in Hebrew and not in English. It's kind of like English has is, are, am, have. Hebrew doesn't have those, but Hebrew does have et, which doesn't exist in English. And it makes sense to put et before hakol. Litaken et hakol, to fix everything. It's like to fix the everything. We could say that. That's one way to say it. But another way to say it is litaken hakol. And for this webinar, I didn't want to put too many words. What's the difference in sound between the 2 dots and the 3 dots? Okay. So you saw in a few of the words, under the letters, there are 2 dots next to each other, or 3 dots next to each other, 1, 2, 3, like a triangle. Those in modern Hebrew both make the eh sound, although in biblical times they were certainly pronounced differently, probably a shorter eh and a longer eh. And in Ashkenazi Hebrew, the 2 dots make the a sound and the 3 dots make the eh sound, but modern Hebrew has eh for both. The 2 dots are called tzireh and the 3 dots are called segol. Okay, male and female, bahahi. Okay, so there's a lot of masculine and feminine. Hebrew has masculine, well, so does English, but Hebrew has a lot more masculine and feminine. The word hu in Hebrew means he in English. The word he in Hebrew means she in English. It's a little bit confusing, but you can get used to it. And beyond that, I'm not going to go into it because it gets too complex for right now. Oh, okay. Somebody said, I don't know the Hebrew alphabet. Now, the word lists that are coming by email don't have English, but they do have a recording, so you can listen to them pronounced. And there is a Learn to Read Hebrew tutorial, 5 short videos of about 5 to 10 minutes each that you can do, and that'll help you get started with reading Hebrew. Thank you. How do you say a leaking tap in the bathroom? Okay, so that's yesh tiftuf. Tiftuf is a dripping. I'm going to write it over here. Tiftuf, a drip. Okay, let's see if I can answer a couple more. To call is להתקשר, אני מתקשר, I'm calling. You could also say אני מטלפן, I'm phoning, same thing. But מתקשר is more common. All right, tichunchik versus shiputznik. Tichunchik, don't know what that is. Shiputznik is a handyman. Let's see, I'm going to answer one more question. What is the infinitive for to call? So we used in this lesson, we had ani mitkasher, which Asaf said, I am calling. To call is lehitkasher. So mitkasher versus lehitkasher. Okay, and that's all for now. Zeu le'achshav. And we have another 2 sessions next week and the following week. Next week is the phone directory, and in 2 weeks from now is the medical system, a touch of the medical system. So that's all I have. I'll pass it back to Ali or Abby. Toda rabba lachem. Thank you very much. Maybe I can't because I'm the host. Okay. All right. Well, תודה רבה לכם. Thank you very much. אני מקווה שנהנתם. I hope you enjoyed. ולהתראות. See you later.